Collaboration using wireframing. Wireframing or prototyping is a very useful elicitation and validation activity that can be used to validate the requirements. If you can build a user interface mockup, you can discuss the requirements much more efficiently. It can help you identify both missing and improperly specified requirements, and also provides clarity around assumptions. It is much more efficient to define the mockup to get it validated as opposed to building it and then fixing it. So it makes the process more streamlined. In doing wireframing, in this module we will cover creating new simulation or wireframes. We use the word simulation, wireframe, mockup interchangeably. To create screens with tabs, so we can use JavaScript controls or simple HTML controls. We can annotate it. We can discuss the wireframe. We can link work items at the mockup or control level. And we can link pages so you can navigate from one page to another. And we'll do how you can do file management and how we can use existing mockups and build on it. Now, let's look at this mockup. Here's a wireframe. In this wireframe, I've used HTML and JavaScript controls. So these are HTML controls. And then things like tabs and accordion and tables and grids, trees. These are JavaScript controls. In this tab control, I've labeled this login, register, and reset password. I've got buttons here. I've got image in there. And if I wanted to preview it, I could just click on the preview green run button, and this would bring up the preview screen. At which point, if I click on OK, then it'll navigate to the other page where it is pointing to. So now what happens is, in addition to being able to create a mockup, you can also link work items at the mockup level. So if I wanted to link an existing work item, I could simply go search by label and select the use case that I want to link to, and I can select multiple use cases if I wanted to, or user stories or requirements, and link it to the mockup. Or I could create work items against individual shapes. So I could go here and I could say I want to create a new work item that's linked to it, and I want to create a user story that says, as a user, I can select, or rather I can use my email address for username so that it's easy to remember. And in so doing, I've created a new user story that is linked to this control. You can have discussion against the mockup. And so the way you build a mockup, by the way, when you're done with this, you can go ahead and you can check it in so others can now pick it up and work on it. Now, if you wanted to create a new mockup, you can go to a folder and you can organize things in folders. So you can create new folders and subfolders. But let's go create a new mockup. So I'll create a register screen. And you can use existing templates or start with a blank one. And in here, what we'll do is that we will start with a tab control. We'll label this address. I'll label this personal data, and we'll label this one as password setup. So in here, I want to put an address. Now there's already a control available with the address layout. So you can actually create components, select them all together, and save it as a control, and then use that control later on. So you can create custom controls this way. For my password, I will choose a text box here. That's password. Or maybe I'll say enter password. And I'll say re-enter password. I'll resize them both. Then I'll take the password control and drop it there. Resize it. This little icon is to clone something. So I'll clone it and drop it in here. Put in a text area here. And we'll give it a label. So that's for a security question. And then finally, we'll put in a hyperlink here. We'll call it register me now. In the property panel, we'll change the font size. And we can also choose what other page do we want to go to. Maybe we want to, from here, go to an existing page, say for login. From here, we'll navigate to the login page. All right. So that's the mockup we wanted. Perhaps we'll go in there and pick an image, perhaps our logo, and put the logo in there, like so. There we go. So we've created a mockup with tabs and some fields, a hyperlink, and a logo there. And then what we might also do is we might annotate on it. So we might go here and we might point to something and we might say, allow user to pull data from Active Directory. And we'll up our font here to 14. All right, so that looks good. And if you wanted to use icons, we can add some icons there from the icon library. And there you are. So that's our mockup screen. So with this, I'll go ahead and save it. I haven't checked it in, so others can view it, but they can't edit in it. I'll go and go to the links tab, and we'll create a link to an existing work item, which is to register So I've linked this user story to the mockup, or we can do it against individual controls as well. And that's it. So we can now go ahead and check it in. And if we were to run it, then in the preview mode, we see this. We can fill in the information. And when we click on Register Me Now, it takes me to the login page. All right. So that is the simulation module. And in the simulation module, you can create wireframes and mockups using both HTML and JavaScript controls. And of course, this is currently checked out, but these are all the controls we can use. Okay. Just remember, whenever you want to format something, you can bring up the property panel and then change whatever format information you want directly in there. And there you go. With wireframing, we have looked at a variety of things, but one other thing I want to show you is how you can use existing mockup to build on it. So for that, what we'll do is that, let's say I have a mockup, I'll just call it register 2. So this is another register form I'm creating. And what I'll do is that I will insert an image of the register screen that I had created elsewhere. And now, on top of this, we can simply drag and drop our other controls and flush that out. Okay, so just take an image bring it into your media library by add image, or you can even do a web search and find images that you want to use in your application. Okay. Actually, there's one other thing that I want to show you is that perhaps if you have created certain mockups that are often used, or just header, footer, sidebars, and so on, then you can take existing mockups and build on it. So here's an online payment form. And I can use that as my starting point, and then I can build on my online payment form, right? And so whenever you build something, you can always save it as a template so that then becomes available for others to use as a starting point. Okay. And again, just remember, check it in when you're done so others can take that up and work on it. So that's working with wireframing. And of course, as a technique, this is very popular in both agile environments and more structured requirements. Thank you, and have a wonderful day. Thank you.